When I first started using AI to generate images, I ran into a frustrating problem that you've probably experienced too. I would try to create the same character multiple times, but each generation would look completely different. The hair would change, the face would be unrecognizable, and even the basic features would shift dramatically. It was like asking for the same person and getting their distant cousins instead. This is where consistent characters come in. Consistent characters in AI image generation are characters that maintain their distinctive features, appearance, and identity across multiple images or scenes. Instead of getting a different interpretation every time, you get the same recognizable person in different situations, poses, and environments. Think about your favorite movie or TV show for a moment. Imagine if the main character looked completely different in every scene. It would be confusing and break the immersion completely. The same principle applies when you're creating content with AI. You need that consistency to build anything meaningful. The future of AI content creation isn't about random generation anymore. It's about building recognizable, reusable characters. In other words, the people who master consistent characters will dominate the next wave of AI creation. But without specialized technology, you'd need to generate dozens or even hundreds of images just to find matching ones. Or you'd have to train custom models with extensive datasets, which requires technical knowledge and computing resources most people don't have access to. Alternatively, you'd spend hours in Photoshop editing images to match character features, which defeats the purpose of using AI in the first place. Even if you've never created a single AI character before, I'm going to show you a system so simple that by the end of this video, you'll know how you can create consistent characters with AI that you can use over and over again in different scenes, poses, and scenarios. This isn't just another basic tutorial, it's a complete masterclass that will transform how you create and use AI characters forever. Most people using AI to generate characters are doing it completely wrong. They're typing the same prompt over and over, hoping to get the same character each time, but ending up with someone who looks completely different in every image. I used to do this too. I'd spend hours trying to recreate the same character, typing increasingly complex prompts, only to get inconsistent results that look nothing like what I wanted. But there's a better way. Throughout this comprehensive course, you'll learn exactly what consistent characters are and why they're so valuable for your projects. I'll walk you through how the character creation technology works, giving you a deeper understanding of the process. You'll master 3 different methods for creating consistent characters, depending on your starting point, whether you have a description, a single reference image, or multiple images. I'll show you how to customize and pose your characters to get exactly the results you want, along with techniques for maintaining character consistency across different generations. We'll also explore ways to animate your characters, bringing them to life in ways that would have been impossible just a few months ago. And of course, I'll give you all my personal tips and tricks for getting the absolute best results. Things I've learned through countless hours of experimentation that you won't find in any other video. I tested 7 different platforms, and OpenArt gave me the best results by far. If you want to follow along, I'll leave a link for you in the description down below. The technology behind OpenArt's consistent characters is actually quite fascinating, and understanding how it works will help you get better results. Unlike standard AI image generators that treat each prompt as a completely new creation, OpenArt uses advanced AI models specifically designed to maintain character consistency across multiple generations. This technology works through a process of feature recognition, where the AI identifies and saves the key features that make a character unique, like their face shape, eye color, hairstyle, or even a signature outfit. OpenArt's AI learns these features and ensures they remain consistent, even when the character is placed in completely different scenes. So to make this simple, manual prompting wastes your time and gives you a different face every time. Custom model training burns weeks of work and still doesn't guarantee perfect consistency. And OpenArt locks your character's identity from the start. Same face, same style, every generation. So when you see it like this, the smart choice is obvious. Now that you understand why OpenArt is different, let me show you exactly how to put it into action. Whether you're starting from scratch, using a reference image, or combining multiple shots, there's a method that will work for you. Before we dive into specialized character training tools, there's a quick method that can work for simpler projects using OpenArt's Chat to Edit feature. This approach is perfect if you need to quickly place a character in different environments, without going through a full training process. To use this method, you'll need to go to OpenArt and select the Chat to Edit feature. From there, you can upload a reference image of your character and use natural language to describe where you want to place them. In terms of character consistency, the GPT model does a pretty decent job. You can put your character in many scenes with simple prompts and get reasonably consistent results. Let me show this to you with a character I've created. I'll upload the image and prompt, place this character on a bench in the park. As you can see, the result maintains many of the character's key features while placing them in the new environment. Now, one of the downsides of the GPT model is that if you continue editing the same generated image, the character's likeness tends to change. For example, if I take this park scene and prompt, make him read a book, you'll notice the character looks slightly different. Even the tone of the image changes. If I flip between these two images, you can see they're quite different versions of what should be the same character. So what I recommend is that if you want to keep the character consistent using this method, always start with your initial reference image for each new scene. So I'll go back to my original character image and prompt, place him in the subway reading a book. And you can see it maintains his character traits much better this way. While this approach works for basic needs, it does have limitations. The character consistency isn't perfect, and you'll notice slight changes in appearance between generations. Another issue is that you have no control over the size of your images. As you can see with this one, it came out in portrait mode, and there's no way to change it, which can be a big deal depending on the situation. That's why for professional projects, or when you need maximum consistency, you'll want to use the more advanced character training methods I'm about to show you. Now let's move on to the more powerful methods that will give you truly consistent characters you can use anywhere. There are 3 powerful methods OpenArt provides for creating these characters. Each approach has its own advantages, and I'll walk you through exactly how to use each one. The first method is creating a character from a text description, which is perfect if you have a character in mind but don't have any images yet. To use this method, you'll need to go to the storytelling mode in OpenArt, select consistent character, and then choose Start with Description. From there, write a detailed description of your character, optionally select the style, click Create Previews to see options, and finally, select your preferred version and click Create Character. When I'm writing descriptions for characters, I found that being extremely specific about physical attributes makes a huge difference in the quality of results. Don't just say tall woman. Instead, specify height, build, and detailed facial features. Describe clothing and accessories in detail, as these elements help define your character's visual identity. I also recommend mentioning personality traits that might influence appearance, as the AI can often capture subtle aspects of character through expression and posture. Let me give you an example of an effective description. A female alchemist with olive skin and curly hair tied in a messy bun. She wears Victorian steampunk attire, including leather gloves, brass goggles pushed up on her forehead, and a utility belt filled with potion vials. Her expression is curious and intelligent, with bright green eyes. She has a small scar above her right eyebrow. This gives the AI clear guidance on exactly what this character should look like, resulting in much more consistent generations. What you can also do is take the prompt I just used and put it into ChatGPT and say, make a prompt like this, but for a male explorer. And it will give you a detailed prompt that you can then edit to make it perfect. The second method, which I personally use most often, is creating a character from a single image reference. This approach is really powerful because it allows you to create a consistent character from just one reference image. To use this method, go to the storytelling mode in OpenArt, select consistent character, choose Start with one image, name your character, upload your reference image, and click Create Character. When selecting a reference image, I found that images with clear visible facial features produce the best results. Front-facing images work best because they provide the most information about the character's features. Make sure your reference image has good lighting and detail because blurry or poorly lit images will result in less consistent characters. Most AI tools require multiple images in order to train a character, but OpenArt only requires one, which is absolutely insane. But even though OpenArt can generate amazing results with just one image, it's always better to use more. The third method, which offers maximum control and consistency, is using multiple images to train your character model. To use this approach, go to the storytelling mode in OpenArt once again, Select consistent character, choose start with 4+ images, upload at least 4 high-quality images, add its name, and click create character. When selecting multiple images for this method, I recommend including different angles such as front, profile, and side view to give the AI a more complete understanding of your character's features. Show various expressions to give the AI more information about how your character's face moves and changes. Include both full body shots as well as close-ups to provide information about overall appearance and detailed features. Try to maintain consistent lighting if possible, as dramatic lighting differences can confuse the AI, and use images with similar artistic styles to ensure consistency in the generated results. Each of these 3 methods has its place depending on your starting point and specific needs. For this video, I'll upload this reference image right here and name my character Amara. After you submitted your character for creation, using any of the 3 methods we just covered, OpenArt will need some time to process your request. This typically takes around 5 to 10 minutes, though I've sometimes seen it complete in as little as 3 minutes for simpler characters. During this processing time, the system is doing some pretty intensive work, analyzing all the features of your character and creating a specialized model that can reproduce these features consistently. Once the processing is complete, you'll receive a notification and your character will appear in your library. And once your consistent character is done, you've got a reusable asset you can use across comics, games, content series, animations, without ever starting from scratch again. Now it's time to actually create with your character. To do this, simply click on Create with Character, which will take you to the creation interface. Here, you'll write a prompt that includes your character's name, adjust any settings as needed, and click Create to generate your first image. And as you can see, it already looks amazing. But there are some key settings that can really affect your results. Understanding and properly adjusting these settings will help you get exactly the images you want. The first and maybe most important setting is the character weight. This controls how strongly your character's features are preserved in the generated image. Think of it as a slider that determines the balance between character consistency and creative freedom. At higher values like 0.8 or 0.9, which I typically recommend, your character's features will be strongly preserved, resulting in very consistent appearances. At lower values, the AI has more freedom with your character, which can be useful for certain creative applications, but may result in less consistency. So if you notice your character's features starting to drift or change too much, try increasing this value. But if your character seems too unnatural in different poses, you might want to lower it slightly. Next is the Preserve Key Features switch. When turned on, this setting instructs the AI to maintain a very consistent appearance, particularly for elements like clothing, hairstyle, and accessories. This is extremely useful when you want your character to always appear in their signature outfit or with their hairstyle. When turned off, you get more flexibility. Your character's face will remain consistent, but the AI has more freedom with clothing and accessories. Let me show you how this works with Amara. First, I'll keep the toggle on and use the prompt Amara in modern clothing, city street background. Despite the prompt specifically requesting modern clothing, you can see that she still appears in her fantasy leather armor or something very similar to it. The AI is prioritizing consistency with her original design over the clothing change requested in the prompt. Now I'll turn the toggle off and use the exact same prompt. This time, Amara appears in modern clothing as requested, while still maintaining her facial features and general appearance. I typically keep this on when I want maximum consistency, such as for brand characters or series where the character's appearance needs to be strictly maintained. I turn it off when I want to show the same character in different outfits or styles while maintaining their facial identity. Finally, pay close attention to your prompt structure. Always include your character's name at the beginning of the prompt. This is how the system knows to use your character model, and I've found that being specific about pose, expression, and environment in your prompts leads to better results. The more guidance you provide, the better the AI can understand your vision while maintaining your character's consistency. Let me show you the difference with Amara. First, I'll use a vague prompt, Amara outdoors. The results are decent, but they lack specificity and direction. Now I'll use a more detailed prompt, Amara walking along a coastal cliff path at sunset, wind blowing through her hair, contemplative expression, golden hour lighting, detailed environment. The results are much more compelling and specific, while still maintaining Amara's consistent appearance. These settings give you tremendous control over how your character appears in different generations. By understanding and properly adjusting them, you can achieve exactly the result you want while maintaining the consistency that makes your character recognizable across different scenes. Once you've created your character and generated a few basic images, you'll probably want to get more specific with poses and positioning. This is where OpenArt really shines compared to other platforms, offering powerful tools to customize and pose your characters exactly as you want. To access the pose editor, you'll need to go into character creation mode and click Pose Your Character. This will open up the 3D pose editor interface, where you'll first select a 3D model that best matches your character's body type. OpenArt offers a bunch of different body types to choose from, including athletic, standard, and stylized options. Choosing the right base model is important because it affects how natural your character will look in different poses. Here, I'll click on Pose Your Character and select the athletic female model since Amara has an athletic build. I could use one of the preset poses, but I want something very specific. I want her drawing a bow and aiming slightly upward, as if she's targeting something in a tree. I'll start with any of these standing poses as my base, and then make adjustments. As you can see, you can control everything with these dots right here. This will probably take a while, so I'll be back when that's done. Alright, now I can rotate the camera around to check the pose from different angles, making sure it looks natural from all perspectives. I think I'm satisfied, so I'll click Update Pose to apply this custom pose to my character generation. Now I'll write a prompt that includes both the character and the context. Amara aiming her bow at a target in the forest canopy. Dappled sunlight, detailed leather armor, determined expression, fantasy setting, high quality, detailed, and hit generate. The result is really impressive. Amara appears in exactly the archery stance I designed, with her features intact, perfectly added into the forest setting I described. The pose editor does have a learning curve, but spending some time practicing with it will dramatically improve your character images. I recommend starting with simple adjustments to preset poses before attempting completely custom positions. As you get more comfortable with the controls, you'll be able to create increasingly complex and specific poses for your characters. Now, after generating a lot of images, you'll sometimes notice small issues or elements you'd like to change. Fortunately, OpenArt has some powerful editing tools that allow you to refine your character without having to regenerate the entire image. These tools can save you an insane amount of time and help you achieve exactly the results you want. Let me show you how I use this with my character. I've generated an image of her right here, but I noticed that her face isn't quite as detailed as I'd like, and one of her hands looks slightly off, which is a common issue with AI-generated images. First, I'll use the Enhance Face option. This improves facial details while maintaining character identity. I'll select this option and draw a mask over Amara's face. When I click Generate, OpenArt processes just this area, enhancing the facial details while ensuring she still looks like Amara. The result is a much more detailed and expressive face that maintains her features. Next, I'll fix the hand issue using the Correct Hands option. Hand anatomy is very difficult for AI to get right, and this tool is specifically designed to address that. I'll select Correct Hands, draw a mask over the weird hand, and click Generate. OpenArt processes just this area, fixing the issues while maintaining everything else. And the result is a much more natural-looking hand that fits properly with the rest of the image. Another powerful option is the Change Facial Expression, which allows you to modify your character's facial expression without changing the identity. Let's say I want Amara to have a shocked expression in this scene. I'll select Face, mask her face, and click Surprise in the prompt. When I generate, her expression changes while still being recognizably Amara. Beyond the Edit People tool, in-painting is another powerful technique for customizing your character. For example, I noticed that Amara's shoulder armor doesn't quite match the style I envisioned. I can use in-painting to fix this by drawing over just the shoulder armor area and writing a prompt like Add intricate details on her metal armor. When I generate, only this specific area changes, while the rest of the image remains exactly the same. And sometimes, you might want to remove elements entirely. OpenArt's Remove tool makes this really simple. For instance, I noticed an unwanted object in the background of Amara's image that's distracting from her pose. I select the Remove tool, draw over just this object, and click Generate. OpenArt removes the object and fills in the area with background content that makes sense. So rather than having to regenerate entire images when small elements aren't quite right, you can make targeted adjustments to specific areas. This not only saves time, but often produces better results, as you can maintain the parts of the image you like while fixing only what needs improvement. You can also make scenes with multiple consistent characters using OpenArt. That's super helpful because AI art usually struggles to keep characters looking the same across different images. With this, you can have your characters interact naturally without worrying that they'll suddenly look totally different. It's a big win for anyone making comics, games, or stories. Let me show you how this works with two characters I've created. Marcus, our cyberpunk detective, and Amara, our fantasy archer. Traditionally, trying to get these two distinct characters in the same scene would be nearly impossible without extensive editing. But with OpenArt's multiple character feature, it's surprisingly straightforward. First, I'll navigate to the Create with Characters section and select both Marcus and Amara from my character library. The system now knows that I want to generate an image featuring both of these characters together. Next, I'll write a prompt that describes how I want them to interact. Marcus and Amara discussing strategy at a cafe table, Marcus explaining something on a digital tablet, Amara listening intently. Modern cafe setting, cinematic lighting, professional photography style, and hit generate. As you can see, OpenArt creates a scene with both characters maintaining their distinctive features and appearances. The multiple character feature currently supports two characters at once, though OpenArt is working on expanding this to more characters in the future. The technology is still evolving, but it already produces impressive results that would have been impossible just months ago. Now, one of the most exciting aspects of OpenArt's character creation is the ability to animate them. OpenArt integrates with Kling 1.6 and Kling 2.0, a powerful AI animation technology that can transform your static character images into short videos with realistic movement and camera effects. Let me walk you through the process using my character. I've generated an image of her standing on a cliff edge. It's a beautiful static image, but I want to bring it to life with subtle movement and environmental effects. First, I'll click Image to Video at the top of the interface. This opens the Animation Settings panel where I can control how my static image will be transformed into video. Now I need to write a prompt describing the desired camera movement and action. For Amara, I'll write, camera slowly pans around Amara as her hair and clothing gently move in the wind. Leaves and dust particles flow through the air. Dramatic lighting shifts subtly, cinematic quality. Next, I'll select the video duration. I'll select 5 seconds for this one. Then, I'll select the quality settings. I recommend using the Pro Quality option if it's available to you, as it produces noticeably better results, especially for character animations. With all settings in place, I click Create to generate my video. After a short processing time, I can preview the result. This looks absolutely insane. The static image has been transformed into a living moment that captures the mood and atmosphere I wanted. The quality of your animation depends largely on your prompt, so it's worth spending time crafting effective animation descriptions. First, be specific about camera movement. So instead of just saying camera moves, specify exactly how it moves. For example, camera slowly orbits around Amara as she examines the artifact, gives the AI clear direction on how the perspective should change. Describing environmental elements adds significant life to your animations. Adding details like wind gently moves Amara's hair as leaves flutter in the background creates subtle movement that makes the scene feel alive without requiring complex character animation. But while the animation technology is impressive, it's important to note some certain limitations. The character's pose remains relatively fixed during animation, so you won't see complex movements like walking or jumping from a single image. Also, animations are limited in duration, with longer animations sometimes losing quality or consistency, and complex actions involving multiple steps are hard to capture in a single animation. I've tested pretty much every AI platform out there, and I can honestly say that OpenArt is by far the best for creating consistent characters. The results speak for themselves. Nothing else even comes close. OpenArt is the tool that actually delivers. I put a link to it in the description below so you can use it yourself. If you use my link, I might earn a small commission at no extra cost to you, which would support me to make such detailed guides as this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next